Hey, everybody. Welcome to Purpose and Productivity, Purpose and Productivity. I can't talk today. It is all good. Good evening. Glad to have you in the building again. It is Friday night. It is time for us to get productive and move forward in another skill, another opportunity we have to level up in our productivity practices. This month, the month of July, we're talking about a J, journaling. And last week we got a little bit of like all the different types of journals you could have. But tonight, I'm super excited. I am super duper excited because we have a special guest with us, someone who has also produced a journal. So we're going to talk about our different journals tonight. We have with us Brian C. Hill from 24 Hour Boss. He is your online demand partner for business growth and personal excellence. His focus is on Christian entrepreneurs, creators, and professionals. Y'all, he talked to us bivocational professionals, using the tools that we need to get online, have impactful conversations, grow an online business through conversations, information, and coaching opportunities. I'm so excited to have Brian, and I just have to tell you, it's an honor because I met him because he commented on some of my content, and that was how we started engaging. And today I'm excited to have him in the building with us live, having an impactful conversation. Welcome to the show, Brian.
Yay.
So glad to have you here.
Hey there, Miss Florence. How are you?
Oh my goodness, don't call me Miss Florence. That make me feel old. That make me
It's
feel
just
so
respect.
old.
It's just
And
respect.
I
I'm
am old,
old.
so
I'm
it's
old school. I'm old school. So moms and dads taught me right. So I
Oh,
appreciate you having me on here though.
oh, you are most welcome. You have something that you say, and I want you to address this and tell us
Sure.
where it comes from and your philosophy around it. And
Hmm.
as you introduce yourself, probably much better than I could ever do, your story, your background, because it's very fascinating how you got into this online business, content creation, coaching world. But you have a quote that says, "If you don't do it, someone else will." Tell us about that.
Yeah. So I say that. I mean, I say that quite a bit. I guess I kind of picked it up just just from experience and just from listening to others. But that quote just kind of means, or it means basically that if we wait, if we procrastinate, if we don't jump on whatever idea that is that God has given us, basically somebody else is going to jump on that. And so I say that to a lot of people. A lot of times people will say, hey, I got this good idea, I think I want to do this. And my response would be, that sounds great. If I say, but if you don't do it, somebody else is. And that's the thing. It's like there are people in our niches that are doing sometimes some of the same things we do, or we'll wait and we'll see somebody else has jumped on the idea that we had. And it's just like, look, we all have different gifts, different traits. So why not just put that in action? I know that's easier said than done too, because I've been there where it's like, you sit on ideas and things like that. But yeah, it just basically means that, if you don't go move forward on that idea, somebody else is going to do it. And so, but why not you? Why not you just go ahead and jump on
Wow. Y'all, he's already dropping gold. He's
it?
already dropping gold. So if you have a journal, write it down. If you don't do it, someone else will. That
Yes.
is already a takeaway. So we got some folks who have decided to show up, and we're going to say hello to the Friday Night Live Tribe, starting with Frank Jackson. Welcome to the show, Frank. Of course, you're
All
here
right.
with us in the lounge, giving us instructions and serving always. So welcome to the show. And of course, designer extraordinaire, PR person extraordinaire, my best brother in the world, the emotional CEO. Happy Friday, Live Tribe. And he's come up with a new one. See, this is what you get, these market, these brilliant minds. Live Tribe Nation. He
All
didn't
right.
change us already. Live Tribe Nation. Now that one is gonna be hard for me to remember to say. And welcome, David Hunt. Thank you. You're loving
David
it.
Hunt.
Glad you're going to get
Yes,
some
sir.
gold here today. So glad to have you in the building. And here you go. You're going to be first with something. I told you he's going to be first with something, y'all. Something. Glad to have you listening to us, Miss Lisa Maria. So glad to have you listening as you are working and as you can. Please go ahead and chime in. And you all know what I say. If you got a question, put it in the comments, put a Q colon in front of it so that we can get your questions answered. Get your questions in early. You heard me. We're going to do this. So, Brian, I'm going to start with asking you some questions. And the
Sure.
first question is, tell us, how did you get into this online
Mm,
business coaching? Really, you're dealing with bivocational professionals, and we know where that comes from. So, kind of
yeah.
tell your story, how you got here.
Yeah. So of course, I think probably like a lot of people, things kind of evolve. I started out I guess before online, like I was telling you, before we came on, I started out doing video editing, or before that, I was producing our church audio broadcasts, putting the CDs together and taking it to the radio station so that they could produce it. And I kind of like that. I like that, just, doing the editing and all that, and came up with an idea to record events. But I was going to just do the audio portion. And my wife and my mom, they were like, well, people don't want to hear their events, they want to see it. And so they said, you should video record them. And so I said, okay, that's a great idea. And so from that, I went from video recording weddings. I did that for about 10 years. And then I kind of got burnt out with it, just doing weddings. And I wanted to do something with like businesses, where, I talked to different business people, entrepreneurs, do something with marketing, try to help them, maybe put videos together for them. But at the time, I couldn't figure out, like, okay, I didn't know, like, how does that look? How would I do it? I didn't have a plan. And I guess it wasn't a lot of, I think at this time, YouTube wasn't as good as it is now. So it wasn't a lot of material out there as far as like going to YouTube and finding all these type of things. And so I kind of just started just looking at online marketing and different things like that. But at the time, like I said, I didn't know how that would look or what it would look like. So I would just kind of write these things down, either putting them on my computer or write notes and things like that. And years later, I, just kind of stumbled upon the idea of, as technology evolved, maybe doing like a podcast. And so I started doing a podcast in like 2019. And with the podcast, I wanted to use that as a conversation piece, to talk to entrepreneurs, about some of their successes, their failures, all these type of things, and which was great. And I loved it, right? Because I got a chance to talk to entrepreneurs and different things like that. And so after doing it for so long, more ideas, as technology evolved, more ideas start to come. And you begin to think, well, maybe I can do this. Maybe I can start coaching. Maybe I can start doing these type of things. And all of this stuff spurs from just conversations that you're having with different entrepreneurs. But I guess one of the things that's kind of intriguing is that this I don't know if you can see this phone, but this phone right here, this is like one of the first smartphones I got. This is like a T-Mobile phone, right? But I went back and looked at this smartphone. I charged it up and looked at the smartphone, and there was an interesting note that I found on that smartphone, an idea that I wanted to do, and I'm gonna read it to you actually. And this was wrote in 2010. I wrote it on there, and when I read back and read it, I said, "This is exactly what I wanted to do." And so it's the note stated, provide helpful marketing solutions and survival strategies for people wanting to start business, along with providing informative business expertise, provide surveys and video surveys from business professionals starting stating how they started their business, experience, struggles, successes, marketing. So, you kind of get the vibe. But this note was exactly what I wanted to do today. And when I read that, it was just like so inspiring that it's like, man, I actually wrote this down and this is actually what I want to do now. And so now, I just try to use like the tools and things that I've learned to help others because I understand and know that the struggle can get real. And of course, I don't know it all. There's still things that I'm learning and still trying to learn. But I just try to help those because I know that some of the same things I went through that people are going to go through it. And so I just try to take my experiences that I've learned now and share it with others. And like I said, now it's like I kind of like trying to be in this space of trying to coach others. So it's a good thing.
Interesting the way you said that, and you brought it right to our, from me, right to our topic, right?
Mm-hmm.
Journaling, because it was essentially a journal entry that
Yeah.
you wrote in 2010. And I
Mm-hmm.
know that you are using your experiences, and I happen to know that you also have a journal that you've published, which I want to
I
hear about
did.
how you came to that.
Yes.
Um, but this idea, this practice of writing
Mm-hmm.
down these ideas and these thoughts and these experiences, have you done that your whole adult life, or did you start doing it later? Tell a little bit about how you got into the journaling practice.
Yeah. No, I think it comes from failure, of course. uh, no, I did not start out doing it, but it's just something you learn after, after failing or after, it's like, man, I should have wrote that idea down. It's a lot of times where I wake up in the middle of the night and it's like this idea just drops on me. And it's like, if I don't get this wrote down, chances are throughout the day, I may forget it. And so I guess that's kind of where it comes from. Just the idea of making sure that I make note of these things, and I would encourage people now, even if you're just now starting, to start journaling your progress now or your journey now, because you'll be able to look back and see how far you've grown just by writing down some things, just writing down how you're feeling. I feel shy, or I don't know if I can, I don't know if I can do this live today. Even writing those things down, because you can look back and just kind of see like how far you're growing. And so that's kind of where I guess the journaling started for me. Now, my journal itself, of course, here it is right here. It's available on Amazon. But this journal, I wrote it for creators, and I wanted them to just kind of have something because it's each month has like an inspiring note, just some kind of encouraging note for each month, but it's just something that it's like a familiar thing that they deal with, just like dealing with fear, dealing with going live. I even have a note in there that's saying, hey, all these ideas that you come up with, I hope you are starting to work on that book, because a lot of us don't realize it, but all the experiences that we have, these are things that we can put in our book, if that's what we choose to do. But I think everybody should, at one point write a book, because all of us have so many talents, and we could help so many people. Just like you, Florence, you do this and you talk about being productive. And that's kind of what I guess, after I came to your channel, it's like, man, she talks about all of these different things. And it's like, that's needed, because a lot of us, we feel we don't have the time. We don't have, it's like we run out of time for different things. But it's like, Florence is teaching us how to be productive, just using maybe simple things or free things like Google Suite. And so it's necessary, right? But that's kind of what that journal is about, just trying to help creators and just let them know that, look, there's others that's been where you're at. So, sometimes you just gotta forget about, just how you're feeling, and just keep moving forward.
Okay. All right. So, of course, I'm a big journaler. My favorite journaling habit is journaling at the end of the day what went well. So I believe in
Mm.
celebrating my wins, small ones, big ones, in between ones, weird ones. But if it was a win, sometimes I'll give you an example today. I was talking with a client, and when I'm vulnerable with people, I find that they are vulnerable with me. And this particular client, we were in a meeting together, and I could tell she was somewhat distracted. And so I just kind of pivoted and said, "Okay, I need to lean in a little bit more in this meeting." Afterwards, she reached out to me and said, "Thank you so much." And she's dealing with um, a young child who has a lifelong illness, who was not doing well today. And she has a 1 year old, and she was doing her job at the same time. And so, my being vulnerable now, for let me tell you where this comes in from a journaling. My win today is I was attuned enough and sensitive enough to say, this person is not as locked in as they normally are. Let me step up a little bit more. And me just doing that without saying anything and without knowing anything, I knew nothing about what was going on,
Hmm.
allowed this person to be able to come back, do what they need to do professionally, but also deal with something that was happening in real life, real talk with children, and not feel like they were being. So for me, that was a win because I was attuned and I didn't do what I so many would do, just kind of badger the person.
Yeah.
And so sometimes those wins are something in you can't touch it, but you know when you've done something well, you know when you've done something that made life a little bit better for another person.
Yeah.
So that's one of my journaling things. So celebrating wins, small,
Yes.
that look
Yes.
like they're insignificant, and sometimes they feel insignificant, but it's
Hmm.
something to celebrate. And I hope that anyone who those hey NNA, glad to have you in the building, young lady, who's here with us today. We've got 8 people who are who joined us today. Celebrate. Use your journal. One of your journaling habits can be celebrating the wins day by day.
Yep.
Okay. Another one of mine,
Yep.
and I want to hear some of your things that you do, is also journaling lessons learned, something I learned today.
Hmm.
And it could be literally in any part of my life, anywhere. Um, but that's something that I've done for years, like many, many, many years. So those lessons stack on top of each other, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
And that's how I've learned to get better. What are some of your favorite journaling prompts, if you will?
Yeah, no, I'm like you. Same for me. I definitely, I would, for people, celebrate your wins because a lot of times, just dealing with different struggles, it does, like you said, Florence, it does seem like we're we're losing, or it's like, I mean, I think just having a good understanding of this is, I mean, if we be honest and transparent, this, trying to do what we do, even going live, there are so many things that we face and that's challenging, and some things we just don't know. And so it's good to celebrate your wins, no matter how, like you said, insignificant you feel it is. Celebrate your wins because that is a win that counts, and so it needs to be celebrated. So I do document those type of things, my wins. I try to also document failures. How did I, how did this happen? How could I have overcome this, or what can I learn from this? Because even though we may experience challenges and things, setbacks, and like that, there is things that we can learn from it. And so I think that should be documented as well because you can learn from it. Something else that I try to document is just trying to figure out how can I overcome myself, because like I was talking to you, I didn't start out doing lives, things like that. I wanted to be behind the scenes, just doing a podcast with audio. And so those are things we could also journal, like how can I overcome this challenge of being on camera, For some people, it is a challenge. It gets easier. I mean, even now, it's like, it's still not very comfortable, but it gets easier, right? But that's some things that I try to journal too. How can I overcome myself? Because I mean, I guess if we sum it all up, it's that's kind of what it kind of equals. It's like us trying to overcome a lot of different challenges we face. Maybe it's fear, maybe it's overthinking. Maybe it's just different things like that. So that's something else that I try to journal. Just the challenges that I face and how can I overcome it. Maybe it's me showing up to a live like like one of your lives, and I can learn something. So that's a good way to maybe get some good nuggets, showing up on somebody else's live or maybe their platform, and you could learn something. So those are some of the things that I try to jot down.
Great. If there was one thing that you look back and say, as I've gone through this
Hmm.
journaling
Yeah.
journey. Ooh, say that one a lot. That's a good one. What did they say? Tongue twister?
Yeah, yeah, that's a tongue twister for sure.
What have I learned today at this stage in this journey that if I knew at the beginning would have made a big difference for me in terms of what you were, not me, Florence, you, Brian, but for
Hmm.
you, Brian, that would have made a difference in your progress and what you wanted to achieve. Because productivity is about achieving those things that are important to you. It's not about being busy. It's about achieving the
Right.
things that are important to you. And I frequently say that because the productivity world sometimes will have people thinking it's about being busy, 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 busy all the time. And it isn't. So,
Hmm.
something that you've taken away as you've gone through this journey and said, man, if I'd known this when I started, it would have made a big difference for me.
I think thinking that I would say probably thinking that, you know, if if you start this, just I guess going into this maybe with a I won't call it a bad perspective, but I say it's not a, realistic perspective. Thinking that if I start this, man, yeah, I'm gonna, I'm gonna get all these followers, all of these people are gonna, jump on this, and if you really, I mean, it's possible, right? But if you really go into it with a unrealistic approach, you probably will feel like a failure. You could feel like a failure. And so I think now where I'm at, just having a realistic understanding, and just knowing that, what, it is okay that I don't know everything, but at the same time, I'm making progress because I'm still learning. I'm still able to, create a even more polished product, I guess you could say. So, but I would say just understanding and knowing that, what, it is okay that you don't know it all. I've also learned that it's okay to even take breaks. Sometimes, life happens, and we have to maybe pull away. So that's okay too. But just having a realistic perspective on this, and and that really helps me because it's like it helps me to keep going in the direction I'm going. It helps me to know that, what, everybody fails, everybody's going to have setbacks, everybody's, and regardless of where you're at, you still have a voice, because all of us have our own unique voice. So I would say just having a realistic perspective of things has really helped me today.
Awesome. That is powerful. Everyone has failures and we
Oh yeah.
can learn from them. You've talked about that several times here today. And it is something for us to remember that we all have failures. No one gets out of life without having some failures somewhere along the way. If you make it to adulthood, sometimes you don't even make it to adulthood, you're going to have some
Oh boy.
failures.
Yes.
And
Yes,
but
you
this
are.
this habit of journaling, and you all know, I say, if you're not a digital person, it's okay. Brian's journal, my journal, uh, someone else's, it's fine. it doesn't have to be anything fancy. It can be an
No.
old-fashioned high school composition book, but
Oh yeah.
someplace where you pull those thoughts together. And you all know I talked about multiple types of journals, right? So deciding what those are. And for me, I have different ones that I use for different things. And it's because I want to be able to look at it and keep them straight.
Oh
So it
yeah.
could be
Even
different
keeping a journal by
documents.
your bed. Yeah. I try to keep something by my bed, even, just to write
Hmm.
something down.
Yeah. I'm going to ask you a question that is not about my earpiece is falling out. Not about journaling, but I wanted to know. So I'm going to ask you this because I want to know how you came up with the name 24-hour boss. Because me and my 1,440 minutes. The inquiring minds me wanting to know how you came up with that name.
Yeah, it's interesting. So of course, when I came up with the idea of like, okay, I need to have something unique, something that's unique, something that, that's a catchy phrase, something that, that can just stand out. And of course, just thinking about being online, different things like that. I think at the time, and I don't remember the other names that I came up with, but I came up with like, I want to say like three names that I wanted to come up with. And when I saw that 24-hour boss, I said, that's got to be it. Because I thought about, okay, I want to do something with online marketing and being online and all these type of things. And so, just trying to put that together and just thinking about, well, if you're doing projects online or if you're producing things online, the internet, it never stops. It's going 24 hours, right? And so I said, that's got to be the name. And so that's kind of how I came up with it. And when I didn't think I realized. I mean, even now, it's like I don't I don't really think about it. But then when people see it, they're like, man, I love that name. Just like I had a guy, he was talking to me, he was like, man, I love that name of your business. That is amazing. I mean, it's so much you can do with that name. And so I didn't, at the time, I didn't think it was nothing, but it's like, okay, I guess it is a pretty good name, I guess. So, but yeah, that's kind of how I came up with it.
Well, 24 hours is magic, right? When
Yeah,
we live through the day, we have that many. No
yeah,
human has any more or any less when they make
no
it through the
more.
entire day. It is the one resource that everyone has the same amount of when you make it through the day.
Mm-hmm.
People have different heights, different weights, different homes, different lifestyles, different backgrounds, different money, different all kind of things. But the one thing that every human has the same is that 1,440 minutes when you make it through the day.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why your name stuck out to me because that is something I key in on. And
Yeah,
it when I think about that, you can't get it back, right?
that's
The
true.
time that you're giving us right now, there is nothing your family can do to get this time back. You're taking time from your family, from your wife,
True.
to be here to share what you've experienced and to help someone else. You
Yeah.
can't get there's zero, nothing that can be done to give this time back to your family.
Yep.
And
So
that's
true.
true for all of us.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I love it because when we think that someone has more than we do, they're better than we are, they've achieved more than we have, they they've achieved it in that same 24 hours, day
Yes.
by day by day.
Yeah, that's true. And like you said, we all got that same 24 hours. Nobody's better than any of us. A lot of times maybe they started out before us, but they got the same time in their day. And we got to use it to the best of our abilities. I guess, it's kind of how we start out with your question to me. It's like, where do you get that phrase from? If you don't do it, someone else is. You got 24 hours, in a day. So if you don't do it, somebody else is. So
Somebody else will. And we've
Oh
had a
yeah.
couple of new people, not new people, but additional folks who've
All
joined
right.
us. I can't talk today, y'all. Hello, 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 Miss Ravens Talk with Yolanda. Glad to have you in the building down there in Florida. I don't know who ST is, but welcome to the show. Pray all is well with you. If you drop your name in the chat, let us know who you are so that we can greet you by name. That will be lovely. And of course, one of our other amazing um, moderators is Miss Inanea in the building with us. Thank you.
All
So
right.
glad to have you with us. I don't see anyone asking questions. Today is a great day to ask questions of Brian so that you can get answers from him about your journaling habits, about tools that you can use. So you have a paper journal,
Hmm.
and paper journals, you use these things with them.
Yes.
Tell me about your pens that you love to use with your journal. Anything special?
I don't have anything special. I like a good writing pen. To be honest, I got some. They're not really expensive. There's some cheap pens, but I want them to be smooth and write good. And I got pens everywhere. Pens in the car, pens by my bed. Just have them everywhere. But it just has to write really well. I guess maybe one day maybe I can get some signature pens with maybe my name on it, 24-hour boss or my name, something like
You,
that. But it you just need something to be able to write with, just to get it notated,
yeah,
so I mean
you
that's
can use
that's
a
that's the
crayon.
key. Oh yeah. Oh
You
yeah,
can
you
use
can
a
use a
crayon.
crayon.
Yeah, I just happen to be a weirdo about, not weirdo. That's not true. That is not true. Let me speak well. I started using fountain pens
Oh,
because
okay.
very early in my life, I learned that I had a problem with my right hand specifically.
Hmm.
And so after I would write for extended periods of time, I would have pain just shooting up my arm. And the way to deal with that was to use fountain pens because you don't use any pressure. The pen does the work.
Mm.
And that's how I actually started using fountain pens and I got really particular about it. They don't have to be expensive. You can
Okay.
buy a $3 fountain pen and it will serve you your lifetime. You
Okay.
can I was looking at some, I have to tell you. This is not in my wheelhouse. I was looking at some from the person that I uh, buy most of my fountain pens from and who services my pens and repairs them and cleans them and does all of that. And he has us, they all have these exclusive premium. And he has a pen that I saw. This Joker is $47,000. I was like,
Whoa.
that thing better cook, it better clean, it better drive, it better do a whole lot for me at $47,000.
Yeah, I can think of a whole lot of stuff I can do with 47,000. I
Exactly.
don't know if a pen would be that, but
Yeah, I was like, that's on the other side of money, as the saying goes. But
whoa, yeah,
and
that's
yeah, let's get back on topic. I will go a little bit on the squirrel side, but they go together. Journals and
yes.
pens
All right.
do
Sounds like I
go
need some
together.
fountain pens. Yeah.
And getting those thoughts out, and do you have anyone that you've coached through the journey, the process of starting to learn how to journal and to use one effectively week by week, day by day? Have you had that
Mm,
experience yet?
myself.
I love
I
it.
have. I think. I think that could be something that yes, I could eventually start to do. But as I continue to go along, I think for myself, I'm learning more and more how to be more effective with journaling. Even like I said, even coming to your channel and just listening to you, it's been very inspirational and helpful because it's like certain things. It's like, man, you know what? I do need to notate this or I need to, write this down. So I would say, yeah, myself. I'm trying to be more effective and get better at it. And and just write it down. And I think you've encouraged your audience. Having the pen and paper is good, but you need to probably get it digitally as well because it's good to have access to it. In case hey, what if I left the journal at home? If I got it digitally, then I could reach it anywhere on my phone or wherever I'm at. So, but yeah, I would say yeah for myself.
Yourself.
I'm
Okay.
coaching myself how to be better at journaling right now.
Okay. That's a good one. Coaching yourself. And if you
Hmm.
start with yourself, then you can truly help someone because you can take them
I
through
can
the
help
journey you
somebody.
went through. So that is absolutely on point. Thank you, Lisa Maria, for the comment. Absolutely. All your pens everywhere are blue ink, either fine or medium point. Uh, thank you. She says fountain pens are the bomb.
I
They
got to get me
they
some
are
fountain
they are
pens.
they can be an acquired taste, however, because you do have to learn how to use them. You
Hmm.
do have to learn how to use them, but and there are so many different styles and nibs and just materials they're made out of that it's a whole nother world. The fountain pen world is a whole nother world.
Yeah.
So Brian, I want to ask you this. What is your next big, not, you know, however you want to say it, um,
Hmm.
goal as the business owner, as an entrepreneur that you've been maybe writing about, planning out, mind mapping, because you can mind your journal can be a bunch of mind maps as well.
Oh yeah.
That you're striving for, the thing that you want to produce and put in the world next.
Mm, I would say right now I am working on I'm working on some more journals actually. Maybe even trying to help others produce journals. But I think one journal that I'm working on or want to work on is maybe a prayer journal, and just providing it for people to, just to be able to maybe journal and write down, some of their prayers that they have, things like that, because I think for most of us, we start the day. Some of us, I don't know, not everybody, but I know for a lot of us, we start the day, maybe with prayer or even devotion, things like that. So I think that's one thing that I want to tap into, just maybe having a journal for those in business, because yeah, we're in business, things like that. But I know for myself, I definitely need the Lord to help me on this journey. And so I think it goes hand in hand, right? For us to be able to maybe God's answer some prayers, or maybe you got a prayer for your business, maybe you are, just different things like that. So I think that can be helpful for some, for them to be able to write down some of their prayers as they go along this journey. So that's one thing that I'm working on. Also, maybe even I haven't started yet, but I got an idea. Even a book that I want to write, uh, just from some different experiences that I've experienced. I think can be helpful for others. And just coming to different platforms. A lot of times people may say, "Well, why you want to write a book?" But just coming to different platforms, it's so much that we know, so much that knowledge that we gain. And I don't think for some of us, I think starting out we don't think about it, but it's like there's so much that we know. We have the chapters to the book already. We just got to get it wrote down, right? We got to journal it, we got to notate it. So we have the chapters, but it's like if we don't start putting that together, if we don't start journaling that, that could make it take a longer time to produce that. So that's something that I think that I'll be working on. That's maybe a little further down the road, but that is something that I want to do as well.
Okay, awesome. Well, that's your big goal. I will love to track along with you and see when you actually put it into the world, when you birth this thing that has been placed in
Yeah.
you to come out and to serve people. And no one is asking questions. So that means we've answered all of their
Maybe
questions.
we've answered all their questions.
We've
Yes.
answered all their questions. They are going to go out. They're going to be doing this journaling thing. And I want to make sure, and we'll drop it in the link in the description, that we'll put a link to Brian's journal. It's available on Amazon. We'll put it in the show notes in the description so
Appreciate that.
that you can grab it. Of course, the links to my shop is there. You can grab my journal there on the shop. It's already in the show notes. And get to writing, get to notating, get to documenting, get to capturing those thoughts, that those fleeting thoughts. And if you happen to be a person who struggles with writing, handwriting. You don't like your writing, you feel like you can't write, you don't like using pen and paper. You can voice record it, you can type it however you want to get it out. But the practice of capturing all of those ideas, those thoughts, those lessons, and um, wins are important. And that is the message that I hope that you take away from today's conversation, that that is the thing that's important about it, because you'll find out what's your next big thing you're supposed to birth, I believe, through this process. And we did get a question, so we're going to get this question in, and Brian, I'm going to let you answer it.
Mm.
David Hunt says, what was one of the biggest hurdles you see to getting started journaling? And I'm gonna put the journaling on there.
Mm.
What was one of the biggest hurdles you see to getting started?
Yeah. So I mean, I would say, I guess to journal, to journal, of course, you just need pen and paper, if you just journal it, but you just need to be strategic in writing those notes. I know for myself, just not writing them down, when that inspiration or that thought maybe jumps on me, I think it's something that that always could catch me, because it's like, man, I knew I should have wrote that down, or man, I knew I should have jotted that down, because now I can't remember exactly the details of that. So I would say specifically to that, just making one of the challenges is just getting it wrote down. That was a problem for me. And you like you say, you just need some pen and paper, or even electronic, even you can use your phone app, whatever you have, you can use that. Now if you're going to maybe publish a journal, like trying to put it on Amazon, uh i think I guess I would say one of the things that we got to understand is that we can do it. I think maybe procrastination, I would say, is another challenge that that maybe I faced, because when I got to actually doing it, it's like this is not that hard at all, and you basically, in so many words, you would just need, of course, I know, Florence, I use Canva, right? So you just go to Canva. Of course, Canva, it has all the material there. You put your documents or whatever that you want to use from Canva. You download it, and then you upload that to KDP. And I know this is kind of just a short version of it, but you just upload that to KDP, and once you do that, and once they approve it, you got a journal. But I think maybe just overthinking, thinking that, I don't know if I can do this, or I think it may be too challenging, uh is some things that may come to mind. But I would encourage anyone, just like, what, you can do this. If I can do it, anybody can do it. And so but I think that can be some of the challenges, just overthinking it, thinking that it's going to be too hard. I know for myself, uh procrastination sometimes can get the best of me, because it's like, you sit on it, and it's like, man, I should have wrote that down, I should have did this. I mean, I'll give you a story, right? So I was supposed to, this isn't happening to the journaling, but I was supposed to start a podcast 10 years before I actually started this podcast in 2019,
Wow.
right? Yeah. So what happened was, I was ready to do it. I wrote out like about maybe 5 episodes. I wrote them out. I was ready to start recording. I started recording them, and then I got to listening to my voice, and I didn't like how I sounded. And it's like, that just prevented me from actually publishing the world, because it's like, I'm sitting there listening to my voice saying, I don't like how I sound. And it's like, we sometimes can be our worst critics, just thinking that, we don't have this voice, I don't sound like this person, or I'm not, and that's one of the biggest things I think that can hinder us, is, being too critical of ourselves, maybe even comparing ourselves to others, thinking that, well, I don't write as well as this person, but we all, like I said, we all have our own unique voice. But I would just encourage someone, what, just get started, just start writing, whether it's in a notebook, whether it's on a piece of paper, whether it's on a phone, whether it's, in Google Docs, or Evernote. or whatever you use, just start writing it, because you'll begin to get plenty of material to produce something very nice.
Yeah. That inner voice.
Yeah.
Our enemy is our inner me, right? Our
Oh
our
yeah, it's
enemy
a
is
killer.
our inner me.
Oh yes.
So just remember that. And that can be, Lisa Maria says she made a book of her own just for prayer. And it made
Yeah,
sense to her. Absolutely. Love it, love it, love it.
love that.
And you guys are greeting each other, and I don't want to just kind of bypass that. So thank you all so much for enjoying being here together and greeting each other and saying hello to each other.
Hmm.
I am not going to belabor tonight. I do want to let you all know Brian's channel is the 24-hour boss. Go visit him.
Yes.
He's got all kind of content on there. Lots of Canva content. If you're a Canva user or not a Canva user and you need to learn how to use it, great content there, as well as other things. So go by, check out some of his playlists,
Yeah.
subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, let him know that you've been there, right? He does
Yes.
shorts too. He does these little short. I'm not the short queen, but he does he does put out shorts a lot more than I do. So it's nice, and it's easy to see. You'll recognize it when you see it. Okay? So
Hmm.
I want you all to go visit Brian, who is part of the Friday night live tribe as well. So it's not that
Yes.
he's just a guest here with us tonight talking about something that he's done, he's learned from, but he's also a part of our community. And I'm very thankful to you, Brian, for
Likewise.
being willing to give up some of your time.
Yeah,
It's
likewise. I
precious.
appreciate
It
you.
is very
Yes.
precious. So I keep these relatively short. So I don't take a whole
Hmm.
lot because it's Friday night. It's at the end of the week and everybody's been working and they're tired and they gonna
Yes.
go to dinner and take care of family. So I have a habit with my guests that I love for my guests to leave the community with a charge or an
Hmm.
impactful thought, something that they can take away and apply. So I'm going to ask you if you would do us the honor of just leaving us with something that we could do with this journaling habit, this process that we're going through, that we can apply and take away in our everyday life, in our business, our content creation, our ministries, all of these professions we have.
Yeah. Yeah. So I would say, I guess first, I think, for those, all of us, don't, I would say, don't worry about trying to be perfect at it. You know, we're not gonna starting out. We may not be perfect at it. We all struggle with something. So I would say not worrying about being perfect at it. I think perfectionism was one of the issues I had. That's probably why I couldn't start that podcast. I was wanting to be perfect, right? But and just be yourself. I think authenticity is one of the greatest characteristics any of us can have, because when I show up on a live, I can't be Florence or I can't be anybody else. When Florence shows up on the live, she's going to be Florence. So when I show up, I'm going to try to be myself. So I would say just be yourself. Not only that, I think we can learn uh different things by showing up for others. Just like we show up for the Friday tribe. We can learn some different things. I learned, I think you had it a few weeks ago. You had a poll, Florence, on one of your lives, and I was like, how did she do that? I was like, I need to learn how to do that. And sure enough, you put a video out on how to do that. So just showing up and supporting somebody else, it has so many benefits. You not only are giving that person the moral support that they need, because it is a struggle for all of us, but also showing up, you can learn something. Who knows what you'll learn. I've learned quite a bit from showing up to Florence's live, showing up to Tanya Streamballs. I've learned from her, even Kirk Nugent. I've learned from just showing up to different people's platforms and just supporting them, because sooner or later it's going to be reciprocated, right? So that type of energy, that type of support, it's going to be reciprocated. And Florence has showed up to my channel as well, and she's made comments. So it gets reciprocated. So we need that, right? And so, that's the thing, we all here for each other, right? And so I would say, yeah, like I said, don't worry about trying to be perfect, do what you can, be yourself, and also, show up to support others because we all need that support as well. And sooner or later, it's going to show up for us. So, but that's what I would leave you with.
Well, thank you. And I will have you return and share more goodness with the community. And with that, everybody, we're going to say goodnight. We're going to hang out in the lounge. And if you have you know where the lounge is, you can come and hang out with us for a few minutes if you have some private questions. And if you don't know where the lounge is, that means you haven't done some things you needed to do in the past. So I will see you guys back here next Friday. Good night, everybody.
All right.